And I'm like, yep, hell yeah. We're buddies, dude. We're fucking pals and friends. We're the best friends. He goes, okay, man, no fear. No shaking, no fear. I'm like, yep, no fear. It's like, okay. And he lets me go, and he walks away that way. Did that guy just point a gun at you? And I'm like, fuck yeah, he did. What the fuck? I'm still not sure if I'm safe or not, right? Gather around, children, and listen to the tale of the time I was almost gunned down in cold blood on the mean, unloving streets of Magna, Utah, and how through sheer wit, guile, and street smarts, I was able to narrowly escape with my life. Okay, that's not quite how it went down. Here's what happened. Story time. I was about 19 years old, 18 or 19 years old. I can't really remember. It was after my first stint of homelessness, unhousedness, I should say. Which ended just before my 18th birthday. So this took place after my 18th birthday. I know that for sure. I was over at a friend's house, and we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. You know that game, Dungeons and Dragons? This would have been 3rd edition, I do believe. We may have still been playing 2nd edition, but this was probably in like 2001 or 2002. So I think we were playing 3rd edition. That doesn't matter at all. Holy fuck. What does matter is that we were getting what we used to call faded. The word we used to use is faded. And I was really faded because this was one of the first times in my life that I ever smoked what we used to call chronic weed, what we now just call weed, but we used to call it chronic weed because, little side note, I don't know if you know this or not, but back in the day, like in the 1990s, if you would buy marijuana, it was not that good. And it was full of seeds. And it was way cheaper. Way fucking cheaper. You buy a half ounce for like 40 or 50 bucks. And it was like just, you never knew how much seeds was going to be in it. And it was like 5% THC. But we were smoking some of the fancy stuff. Some of the newfangled kind buds, as it were. And also, on this particular evening, this was a remarkable evening for my biography because it was the first night ever in my life that I had drank 2 whole 40-ounce bottles of Old English high gravity. And I know that 240s does not sound like a lot, but it is. It is, okay? It is. Go ahead and drink 240s of Old English and call me. And tell me it's not a lot. Anyway, and I was just a kid. I was just a little kiddo. I was just a little baby kid. We played late into the night. And the evening resolved itself for the best tidings. And I decided to walk my way home. And it was about a 45-minute to an hour walk. I had done it a number of times. Nothing out of the ordinary for me. Now, I lived in a city which like a suburb of Salt Lake, part of the greater metropolitan area, called Magna. And Magna has a bit of a reputation. And I think it's a little bit undeserved. Because Magna's right next to a city called West Valley, which is way worse, if you ask me. Anyway, Magna has a reputation for being like Tweakerville and gangbangers. But I'd never really experienced it. It was a poorer part of town. It was a lower income city, the city of Magna. Well, the neighborhood I was in, that my friend lived in, was a nicer neighborhood. And I didn't really have to walk through any of the worst parts of Magna to get home. And even if I did, that never bothered me ever before this night. So this is a pretty nice neighborhood, you know, middle class, upper middle class houses and big wide roads. That's one thing I remember. So I'm walking down the road, kind of stumbling, right? And I hear something up ahead of me. I'm not quite sure. Must be people, right? And there's a camper trailer parked on the road. And I start to ascertain that the source of what I'm hearing must be just on the other side of the camper, what would have been on the sidewalk from where I was at. I'm like, okay, I'll just saunter on to the other side of the road and continue minding my business, right? As I start to cross the road, all of a sudden a human person comes out from behind the camper trailer, and I think there was a car parked there too. I believe they came out from like in between them. And I'm like, all right, you know, and they start to walk across the road to like meet me on my, you know, lateral path. And I'm like, well, this is weird, right? So I just start to walk back across to the other side, and now they're walking back to match. I'm like, okay, this is fucked up. So I start to walk back again. They start to walk back again. I'm right about dead smack in the middle of the road, and they're probably 10 or 12 feet away from me, and they stop and they pull a gun out and they point it right at me. And I put my hands up in the air. Okay, now I'm gonna do my best to remember how this next part all went down. It's kind of all a jumble in my memory because I was sort of fuzzy brained at the time. I stick my hands up in the air. I remember I had like $2.17 in my pocket, and I said, man, I got $2.17 in my pocket. You can have it if you want it. I've got my hands up in the air. And he goes, I'm not robbing you, man. I ain't trying to rob you. I don't want your money. And now I'm thinking, oh shit, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? And this guy is like he's like a gangbanger looking dude, of Hispanic descent. I'm not sure. He was like a Mexican fucking gangbanger, okay? And I'm just fucking scared shitless. I'm thinking, oh God, what the fuck's going on? I'm gonna die. What the hell does this guy want from me? He goes, I don't want your money. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, what's your name? I said my name. I said, John. He said, John what? And I said, John Doe. Still got my hands up in the air. And he goes, John Doe? Do you know Tim Doe? I told him my real name. I'm obviously just changing the name for you, but I gave him my real name because that's what you do when you meet somebody in real life. And I thought, hey, this is the last guy ever going to see me alive. He might as well know my real name. Inconsequential. He says, hey, you know Timothy Doe? And I say, no, never heard of him, which was true. I have actually kind of an unusual last name. It's not entirely uncommon, but it's fairly unusual. You've heard of at least one person with my last name. Anyway, I'm like, no, I've never heard of this guy ever in my life. I don't know who that is. And he goes, oh, okay. And he sort of puts the gun down and he walks right up to me, and he puts his arm, he walks and stands side to side with me, like juxtaposed, shoulder to shoulder. And he puts his arm around me and he's saying something. I can't remember what he was saying in this point because all I know is that he's got that gun pointed directly at my dick and balls. They're just right at like point blank. I mean, literally, he's got his arm around my shoulder and he's holding the gun like this, pointed straight at my cock. And I'm like, I remember looking at him, looking at the gun, looking at my dick area, looking at the gun, looking at him, looking at the guy, you know what I mean? And he finally realizes what's going on, and he looks down and realizes that I've got the gun pointed straight, or that he's got the gun pointed straight at my dick, and he tucks it up under his arm, like so. Really weird and awkward fucking thing to do. But he wasn't pointing at it, and he's like, now I am cleared up. He's like, you never had a gun pointed at you before, have you? And I'm like, no. And he's like, are you scared? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I need you to stop shaking. I think he told me to put my hands down at some point. He's like, you can put your hands down. I'm like, okay. He's like, I need you to stop shaking. I mean, he must have told me to put my hands down before he put his arm around my shoulder. I honestly can't remember. He goes, I need you to stop shaking. I need to feel no fear in my arm right here. And I just, this is my superpower, is in moments of pressure, I don't panic, and I don't, you know what I mean? Like I can remain cool and do whatever the thing is that I need to do a lot of times. And in this moment, I was able to stop shaking to save my own life, I thought. I don't know. Who knows what would have fucking happened. I'm confused as hell. I'm thinking, what in the fuck is going on still, right? Maybe this is some kind of a gang initiation. I don't know. So he goes, you never had a gun pointed at you before? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, let's see. How did it go down? Because I think he said, have you ever had a gun pointed at you before? And that's when he told me, after I said no, he said, okay, you need to stop shaking. And then he said my name and said, we're friends. He said, we're friends now. He said, now you've had a gun pointed at you before. Now, next time you have somebody come point a gun at you, you won't be scared. And you can come find me and tell me about it. And I'll go get them for you since we're friends. And I'm like, yep. Hell yeah. We're buddies, dude. We're fucking pals and friends. We're the best friends. We're big friends. We're friendly friends. I'm like, yep. Yes, sir. Friends. Friends we are. Never caught his name. Didn't ask. He goes, okay, man. No fear. No shaking. No fear. I'm like, yep. No fear. It's like, okay. And he lets me go. And he walks away that way behind me. And I am still fucking terrified, right? I'm like, oh God, now here it comes. He's going to shoot me in the back. This is it. This is the gang initiation. This is the part where he shoots me in the back. But I never looked back. I just walked away at a regular pace. All I could do was like follow his fucking instructions, right? No fear. I had to show no fear, right? I was so fucking terrified. He's like, no fear. And I'm like, right. So I knew if I thought if I looked back, that would show fear and blap. That would be it. God, I remember the fucking way that gun looked when he had it pointed at me too. I know people have told me later on. Well, I guess I'll get to that right now. So I start walking, and then all of a sudden, out from behind the car and the camper, which I'm now up to, out comes this younger dude, like younger than me. He was probably like 16 or 17. And what must have been his dad, like a 40-year-old guy. And they're like, did that guy just point a gun at you? And I'm like, fuck yeah, he did. What the fuck? And they're like, he did that to us too. And Dad's like, I think it was a fake gun. And I'm like, no, that was not a fake gun. If that was a fake gun, that was like Hollywood movie set quality fake. Because when he had that barrel pointed at my head, it was a 380, I'm pretty sure. When he had that barrel pointed at my head, it was this goddamn fucking big. You know what I mean? Like I could see my life ending in the barrel of that fucking gun. It was not a fucking BB gun. It was not a fucking squirt gun. It was no shit like that. These guys were like, oh, I don't know, man. He did the same thing to us. And I'm like, what? He must be just out fucking being crazy or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm still not sure if I'm safe or not, right? And so we walk together for a little ways, and then they have to go one way and I have to go another way. And we're still on the same street that this happened on. This we haven't gone very far from where this happened. But now I'm going to turn right and they're going to turn left, and then I'm going to turn left again. And it's just this short little turn into the neighborhood that takes you into sort of a different part of the neighborhood. You know how neighborhoods, roads are all broken up to keep the traffic from all going into one spot? Yeah. So now I'm alone. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And I light up a cigarette. I think I had 2 cigarettes. Yeah. And I light one up. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And this is like, you know, cigarettes were a big deal to me back then. It was hard to come up with $3.50 to get a pack of cigarettes for a fucking poor ass teenager like me. Anyway, and I think I remember that because I was smoking a cigarette out of schedule. I'm like, well, whatever. I'm just going to, like, I had probably just smoked one, but now I'm going to smoke another one. And fucking, so I turn the corner, we split ways, and then I turn the other corner, and all of a sudden, here rolls up, real slow, this old fucking, like, I don't think it was a Cadillac, but it was that sort of a car, like a Lincoln or something like that, but a really big car, like something a fucking gangbanger would drive back in the 90s and early 2000s, right? And, oh my God, Jesus, God, fucking Christ, God damn it. Right? And the car rolls up real slow and pulls up to a stop right next to me. Like, Jesus Christ, this is it. This is it. This is the second part to their dumb little weird fucking game. And I'm going down right now. Window rolls down. It's this big old Tongan dude. And I think, like, immediately I felt a little bit better because the other guy was a Mexican, or I perceived him as being Mexican. I don't know if he was really Mexican or not, but come on, I just had a gun pointed at me. He was Mexican enough for me. I don't give a shit. But what I knew is, like, the Mexican gangs and the Tongan gangs didn't get along. So I felt pretty good about that. But I was still, like, so confused, and my brain was swirling. And I knew that not every thug out on the street was a member of those gangs. You know what I mean? Oh, God. Here's his buddy come up to finish their little prank and kill me or whatever. I don't know. Car rolls up real slow. Window rolls down. Big old fucking Tongan dude in there. And he goes, hey, man, come here. And at this point, I'm just like, okay. And I just walk over to the car. I'm just operating on... I don't know, faith in Jesus, I guess. Who fucking knows, man? I don't believe in Jesus anymore, and I don't think I did then, but I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Just turn and run away? And I think there was some voice in my head that was like, see what he fucking wants. Nobody's killed you yet tonight. You're on a roll, right? So I walk over to the fucking window, and I go, what's up, man? And he goes, you got another cigarette? And I thought, yep, I sure fucking do, man. And I gave him my very last cigarette. And I said, have a good night. And I finished walking home. And I never walked home that way again, ever again. I was fucking, I don't know if traumatized is the right word, but like, I was always looking over my shoulder from then on. I'd go a clear-ass different way home from my friend's house. I'd make the walk take 1 billion times longer just so I didn't have to walk down that fucking street. And I still, to this day, 19, 20 years later, I still look over my shoulder whenever I hear a car pass or see somebody walking down the road. I guess I was just a dumb, naive kid before that and thought everything was fine. I walked all over that town. I mentioned earlier about the skeezier neighborhoods and stuff like that. I walked all fucking over those skeezy-ass neighborhoods. Jesus Christ. And this was before I was even doing any, like, crazy skeezy shit. We'd go to fucking the worst... There was a street in that neighborhood, 9150 West, and it was well known for being, like, the gnarliest fucking place. And we'd go ahead. We had friends that lived on that street. We'd fucking hang out, when We weren't tweaking and shit, but all the fucking rest of the people were. But the thing about tweakers is they'll normally just leave you alone, dude. Like, they don't want no smoke, usually. They fuck with each other. Like, tweakers will fuck with each other and steal from each other and shit. And they might steal from you. But as far as, like, when you're walking down the street, most of the time, 99% of the time, a tweaker don't want to fucking talk to you. They don't want you to talk to them. They want to go on about their business. The problem is, if you do start talking to them, they are compelled to speak. So just leave them alone. Don't approach them. Most of the time, they'll leave you alone, stay inside their house, stare at you outside the blinds. They think you're a cop. But this wasn't this guy. This dude was like a drunk man. I found out later, somebody later on told me that they thought that they knew who it was and that dude had just gotten that gun for Christmas or something and was maybe his birthday. I don't remember it being that cold. I don't know. Well, that's my story of the time I was almost gunned down like a cowboy. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story time video and perhaps want to hear more adventures of Stags, leave a like or a comment saying, "Hey, what a great video you did. What an amazing video you've done. This is fantastic. It's like a vlog. You did a vlog, Stags. I'm so proud of you." Leave that comment. Exactly. With all the pauses and awkwardness. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and follow all my other shit. You may even find somebody on Twitter. I won't want to say too much. Haha, nope. But I bet if you look around, join the Discord, follow me on Twitch, whatever else thing you want to do that. Do whatever you feel like doing. Right now, I want you to take some time for you. Make this a you moment. You know, if that means taking a hike, drawing a hot bath, you want to fucking smoke a fat doink. I could probably just keep talking. It's time to end the video. The video's over. I think I ended it already. I said all the things. Now all I gotta do is get up and hit stop. It's really far away this time.